In this presentation, we're going to take a look at the research process. The cyclical nature of the image you see here supports the idea that it's often necessary to adjust your progression by backing up, revising, adding material, or even changing your topic altogether. So let's jump in and take a look at the first step, pre-research. During the pre-research process, you'll want to familiarize yourself with the assignment by analyzing it to determine 1. What information is needed to complete the assignment effectively. 2. The required end product. Is your professor requiring that you submit a certain type of paper, deliver a speech, or create a poster? 3. You'll want to consider your audience. For example, the information, details, and tone you'd use to relay the details of a car accident you were involved in to your parents versus your insurance agency or even your friends would vary based on the audience you're delivering that information to. You'll also want to consider the overall requirements for the assignment. Those details might include the due date, so you can set a plan of attack, the name of a particular text that must be referred to, etc. Now, when it comes to selecting a topic, it's really important that you pick one that's of interest to you and meets the assignment objectives. When it comes to research, there's nothing worse than feeling saddled with a topic that you could care less about. And for your audience, there's not much worse than being forced to read or listen to someone share their findings about something they had absolutely no interest in. So, for the sake of everyone, make sure you select a topic that you consider stimulating. Take a second to read the English Writing 101 sample assignment posted on the right. The text highlighted in gray corresponds to the information needed. In this case, the assignment calls for a focus on one of the key issues in the author's memoir. The assignment requirements, highlighted in yellow, are to generate a 5-page paper that uses the author's memoir as a primary text. The end product, highlighted in green, that students are to produce is an analytical research paper. So, in full disclosure, I recently finished reading Ishmael Bea's memoir, A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier, and found so much of it riveting. I decided I'd like to learn more about child soldiers, so I selected that as a topic, see blue highlights at the bottom, that I'm going to refer to for the remainder of this slideshow. Once a topic is selected, the next step is to refine it by generating a research question and identifying keywords to use in your upcoming searches. Once you've done that, you'll want to familiarize yourself with the topic by gathering background information on it. Encyclopedias are great for getting an overview of the topic, and we'll discuss more of what encyclopedias have to offer later in the course. ARC's library also offers other reference resources like subject-specific encyclopedias and databases that can provide plenty of background information. If any of these resources I've mentioned sound unfamiliar, don't worry. You'll be learning about and using all of them soon. In this first slide of samples for developing a research topic in question, you can see that I refined my topic by adding a location, Sierra Leone, to my topic of child soldiers, since that's where the author's experience as a boy soldier takes place. In the second box, I also crafted a research question that really hones in on what I want to explore, which is, how effective are the methods used to psychologically rehabilitate child soldiers? In the last box, you'll see the two keywords, rehabilitate and child soldiers. The trick to selecting effective keywords is to focus on the main concepts contained in your research question and disregard all the non-essential words or phrases. In the following second set of slides for developing a research topic in question, we're going to take a look at how to gather background information. In the right column, the first box includes a screenshot of one of my favorite reference resources, the Gale Virtual Reference Library. In the search box, you can see where I keyed in my search phrase, child soldiers. That search resulted in 3,466 hits. We'll talk about how to refine a search like this later in one of our upcoming lectures. In the lower box, underneath the GVRL screenshot, I ran the same search in the library catalog and found additional resources. One of them was this 323-page reference handbook about the topic of child soldiers. Both of these sources appear to provide plenty of material that will help me develop an overview of the topic. Now that you know the direction you want to go in with your topic, have equipped yourself with a general understanding of that topic, and have selected some keywords and concepts to use in upcoming searches, it's time to put all of that to work and locate resources that will provide relevant information and evidence to support your claims. Library databases and search engines are great resources to use to start this part of the process. In the upper right box, I highlighted the word OneSearch. It's the library's most popular online research tool. It's also referred to as a discovery service because it pulls together almost all of the library's resources so they can be accessed from a single search box. You can see that I used my keywords rehabilitate and child soldiers in my search, and that search returned 67 results. In the second box, I highlighted the first 3 of that 67, and while you may not be able to make it out from your screen, each of these 3 come from a different source. One is from a news source, another is from another type of periodical, and the last one is from an academic journal. At the bottom of the screen is a screenshot from an article I found in Google. The purple highlight reflects the relevancy of the article. It appears to address my research question. And the red highlight identifies the source as being a Harvard-generated publication. And considering Harvard's academic reputation, I expect it to be a credible source, but I will need to explore it further to determine whether or not my assumption is correct. It's important to evaluate all the sources you find to determine if they are relevant to your topic and come from a credible source. If currency is a concern, you'll want to make sure that the source meets that objective as well. For the purposes of this class, the word text may refer to a book or article, but could also include a film or a piece of art, etc. So, one of the best ways to really understand a text, whether you're reading it or viewing it, is to have a dialogue or a conversation with it. When interacting with a text, if something you come across connects with you, causes you to generate a question, or is an idea you want to argue against, make note of it. Perhaps the author or some other text will have an answer for you. By interacting with your text in this way, you'll find the depth of your research and personal understanding benefit greatly. In this first of 2 slides for evaluating sources, I found an article that caught my attention because the title directly reflects my topic. So I'm thinking it might be a good candidate. I also noted, see the red highlight, the fact that the article is hosted by harvard.edu and may be credible, although we'd need to explore the site further to be sure. This is another feature of the course, how to effectively evaluate sources, that we'll learn more about later. I also saw that it's a relatively recent publication. Note the yellow highlight. So I expect the author or authors will be referencing fairly recent data. In this slide, the original text I'm referencing is in quotation marks, and the highlighted sections are part of the text I'm engaging with. Here's where I might make a connection to my own experience or another text, argue with the author, or as I did in this example, raise questions that aren't addressed in this particular article, but might be found in another resource. When it's time to put it all together, it's time to join in and add something new to the scholarly conversation. This is where you add your informed point of view to the discussion that up until now you've only been reading about. For more on this idea, watch this UNLV video, Research is a Conversation. Sometimes, once you've submitted your paper, created your poster, or shared your presentation, you may feel like celebrating because you're finally done. But there is one more step to consider, and that's the reflection. Have you ever prepared for and taken a test, scored well, and then a few days or weeks later forgotten most of what you supposedly learned? Taking time to reflect on the learning you did can offset that loss of knowledge and is essential for moving knowledge from short-term to long-term memory. Sports teams often scrutinize footage of previous games to identify and correct their mistakes at practice. As learners, we can also identify and learn from our mistakes by bringing a similar level of scrutiny to the material we have learned, and as a result, solidify the new knowledge we've gained. Here's a reflection sample. There are many ways to document your reflection. You may choose to do it informally and jot down your thoughts in a notebook, but one of the great things about saving your reflection in a Word file or Google Docs is that you can readily access it and revise it. In this way, it becomes a living document that charts your growth and learning.